The impact of the Africa Architecture Awards, it's multiple in many ways, in the sense that, firstly, it has given a platform to the voiceless architects who are not recognized by anyone else, and who, of course, are battling to set up their own integrities within the landscape of architecture. Now, with regards to the industry, the major impact is that the industry is beginning to recognize that there are practitioners there who are capable to interpret their materials and their use and their longevity in whichever way is possible within the framework of architecture. And of course, that begins to encourage the industry to up their game, because the demands in technical application may exceed what the manufacturers are able to do in this point in time to deal with various issues. The body of work that has been submitted as entries, it's so varied that one begins to understand that so much is happening through Africa, which is not recognized by anyone else. And that body of work begins to speak to a lot of issues within the framework of the architectural space. Not only that, but also in the space that deals with the lives of people. Some of the works that we've seen, it's not architectural masterpieces, but it's architects' works that have got a story behind that is supported by the communities in which it's being built. And others are master works, which perhaps they also include in the composite of everything that I've mentioned in terms of communities, but they stand out to project the future demands of the space. Right. And thirdly, to a large extent, the body of work that we've seen, about 307 entries, they all speak different languages, and they all have got different persuasions. And of course, what we looked at as a jury, it began to challenge our own values as a jury, how we need to begin to look at work that is submitted or that is happening throughout the continent. What is its actual purpose? Does it have a test of time, or is it going to be subjected to any particular test of time? Yes, and some no, because others are projects that are done to deal with a particular situation, which of course has got a sunset. The industry has fallen behind in understanding the complexity of making of a project. It is not necessarily about products, it's not about style, it's not about the artistic values of the project. It is the process which begins to incorporate the very same values of products into the communities that have been sustained by other means for hundreds of years. And that becomes a challenge to everyone else, whether being a practitioner or an industry that produces building materials. And that's at this point where in those industries they need to bring on board, if they are not going to consult the professionals in the process of producing or manufacturing their products, they would rather have on board professionals that understand the landscape. My own values in understanding architecture and the view in architecture has been tested by the compatriots or the people that I worked with. And then I begin to understand that the best thing I could do is not to hold a staunch view on a particular thing, but is to allow others to have their views, of course, to augment what I believe in, because that's the bottom line, is to bring them on board. And then the sharing of this knowledge and relationships, we hope that it will go a long way in developing the landscape in architecture. You know, throughout the globe or throughout the world, there are many awards, architectural awards and etc. But this one is trying to reclaim the dignity of an African continent, the dignity of an African architect in their own space, to be seen to have contributed in the space in which they live in. What I would encourage the emerging architects is that the little you do, be it a 5% of the bigger picture, focus on the 5% and make it 100% of yourself by having done it successfully. Then you'll be known to be an expert in a particular field. You cannot be an expert in everything else.